Yo, um, 11:58, probably the first one I'm doing that's before midnight, I think. So I finished watching Gnosia 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago, I think. And this is what it's gonna be about. I don't really know what I'm gonna talk about, but gotta talk about something, I guess. So I can have something to look back on. I gotta shave, but I guess some real quick things. I don't think I've been rating any of these. Uh, so for Gnosia, I think I give it like an eight, maybe. All right, pretty solid eight. Um, I liked it a lot. It was very enjoyable. Um, and would I recommend it? I think I would recommend it. I had a little pause because not a lot of people have all the time to watch like anime and stuff like that. So if you're watching this for some reason and you don't have a lot of time to watch anime, this is a long one. There's like 20 plus episodes. It's not a 12 episode anime, so you do have to dedicate a little bit of time to it. Um, but I would recommend it. It was fun. Um, I guess a TODR is it's uh, the all the sorry I can't speak. There's like Among Us has to be the first one. Among Us, Five Night Ultimate Werewolf. I think that's what it's called. Secret Hitler, Avalon, those Town of Salem. It's in that realm of game. It's an anime, but it's in that realm of genre. So if you're interested in that and you want to see it in an anime form, then go watch it. Uh, I guess everything beyond this point will be spoilers. So do not watch this if you're planning on watching or playing the visual novel. Uh, I have not played the visual novel, so I don't know how faithful it is to how faithful the adaptation is, but it was very enjoyable. Regardless of how faithful it is, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't really think about this. There's a lot that happened in the 23 or 21 episodes, um, and I didn't really think through much of it. Through I didn't really think much about before pressing the record button on here, but it was really enjoyable. It was in the beginning, I suppose, in the beginning when they're introducing all the characters and the game mechanics and all that stuff is very slow, uh, and it's like, I mean, not everybody has played these genres of game, so it's understandable. And also, they have like their own mechanics of the game and stuff like that. I don't want to keep calling it a game, but that's kind of like how it kind of like went into my brain. Um, but obviously, so there's the Gnosia, which are the people that are trying to like kill all the people, everybody else on board that's not Gnosia. And then there's just like the crew members, the regular crew members. And when they started introducing roles, so when there was the Gnosia and the like crew member thing, like the infectees versus the normal people, initially I was like, oh sure, this is like a this is like those like a cousin of that type of game or whatever. Uh, and then they started introducing more characters, and then with more of the characters coming in, they started introducing more game mechanics. And by game mechanics is mostly the like crew like roles. So there's like guardian angel, you know, people who are like 100% not Gnosia. I forgot what they called it, but they were like, I think guard duty. So they were like on the ship before they left Louisiana. And then there's some other ones. The engineer who can like figure out, and then there's the doctor that can engineer who can choose anybody and then figure out whether they're Gnosia or not, whatever. I don't know why I'm explaining this. If you're watching past this point, you probably already know it. So let me stop there. Um, but there's all that stuff, and it was still enjoyable. And there was a certain point where I stopped thinking of it mostly as a game and more of like I don't know how you call it, like a story, like an anime, if that makes sense, right? Because if you play like Avalon and that kind of stuff, it's like you're playing a game, and the game. I mean, that was a horrible uh, analogy. I don't think that was an analogy. I'm It's been freaking 5 million years since I've been in English in an English class, so I don't remember what all these uh, English literature terms mean. But uh, games obviously can be stories, but for like games like Avalon and Among Us, there's like not a continuous flow of a story. Whereas here, you you learn stuff slowly and slowly. All the characters get introduced, um, and honestly, when the characters were being introduced, they were all very interesting and fun to learn about. Um, there was oh. So we start off with like Setsu and SQ and Arakio and Yuri or whatever main character, and those four characters in the first like thingy or whatever, and then you got Rakio's freaking big brain, and then SQ's mannerisms very I don't know how you call it, but very enjoyable. Sorry, I can't. If you're watching this, why are you watching this? um, but so I guess talking about the characters, I really enjoyed the fact that all the characters. I mean, there was like surface level stuff that you learned initially, right? So you learn their mannerisms and that kind of deal. But then as you watch more and more of it, there's a freaking helicopter outside. But as you watch more and more of it, there's like more depth, right? I mean, I guess I hope that when you spend more time with a character, you're able to learn more about them. But their backstories were all very interesting. I especially liked so there's there were a few that like felt I don't know how you would call it like deeper for me compared to the other ones, right? For the ones that come to the top of my head immediately is SQ and Gina, right? Uh, those two were the ones where I was like, oh shoot, we we are getting you know uh, some. It's not like I want to say they didn't have depth, but sorry, when I speak, I preface a lot of things because I don't want to be misunderstood. But even then, I don't am unable to translate everything in my head and my thoughts to words. Um, but so there's Gina's story with her mother, and I may be wrong because I wrote solo notes for this and I don't remember much off the top of my head. I have some of the screenshots here, but it's a lot of screenshots to go through. You can see the brightness or whatever. Um, but Gina's story with okay, so I'll just talk about Gina, and then some of the stuff that was very memorable in my head, in my brain, mind, mind. Um, and that was that she does not like lying, right? And we go through like chronologically all the stuff or whatever. We learn that she's a trap or like I don't know what you call it, a spacecraft traffic controller, right? And that's when she goes out with Yuri, and then they do the like bonding thing outside with like uh, what you call it, the repair stuff outside. Now I'm forgetting because they did this multiple times. I believe the first time she did it, she was a Gnosia, right? Um, and like that, like her, I don't know what you call it, but one of the like key things that I don't know, maybe not like defines her, but maybe does define her, is that she hates lies, right? And being a Gnosia, you like constantly are lying and stuff like that. Um, and so she basically you in one of the episodes she is talking to Yuri about I believe the like different timelines and stuff like that. Maybe they're not. There's just so much that happened that I'm forgetting. There's so many different timelines that I'm like mixing them up with each other. Um, but at the very least, Yuri was aware that um, Gina hated lying, and this and at the point where this was happening, uh, Yuri was aware that or has seen timelines where Gina was a Gnosia and she was lying, right? Basically showing that like Gnosias, they they take over your prime directive and then they make you want to kill and lie and all that stuff or whatever. Um, but so, this is very incoherent, very not linear. It's a way of telling my memories. Um, but with Gina, there was the I did write this one instance down. Where is it? Um, so they so Gina. Okay, so I'll talk about why she hates um, lying, right? And it's basically because her mother fell into the trap that is the I forget what the religion is called. The Hikoboshi, is that what they call it? Or is the Hikoboshi what the priests are called? I'm completely forgetting. But whatever the like religion is in Gnosia that allows people to cyberize their uh, existence, um, she like fell for that. I don't know if you would say fell for, but like from the average person's point of view, you're basically like getting pulled into like a cult religion, and then you're like leaving everything behind, essentially. And her mother just went off and disappeared, got cyberized, and she doesn't like lies because sort of like that. I'm doing the story zero justice by telling it this way, but um, hold on, let me see. Oh, okay, I do remember now. So this is a lot like later on when there's the dual existence problem with the bug Yuri and then the uh, real Yuri, the original one, if you would call it that. And when he starts meeting the other one, the freaking universe like explodes, right? And and then immediately one of the very first things he does is like he's like, all right, well, he finds out that like his existence is a bug, and then he's like, so I'm the one that's not supposed, like, does not belong here, and he immediately starts like YouTube. Can I say this? He starts Minecrafting himself or whatever, um, right? He starts killing himself, um, and he does it in like numerous ways, right? Um, and one of the ways that he does it through is he is about to go into like the airlock and then like jettison himself out of the spacecraft, right? And I believe in that timeline, Gina notices that something is off with Yuri, right? And she goes there and is like, what's happening or whatever, right? Uh, and so I don't really know how to say it, but it's like the build up, like it's not like a single buildup, right? Like the story, the way the story works is that there's like multiple buildups of multiple things going on at once in Gnosia, right? So only been talking about Gina, and I guess I'll continue talking about her so I can finish this thought out. But with that one, it's like you learn she doesn't like lying. Like this trust exercise like means something. Like going outside of the spacecraft and then working with another person, because I mean you're trusting another person with your life out there in space, right? And then it's also something that's like meaningful to her, uh, right? Um, and so like it's the build up of all that stuff, trust and like Gina's character. She's like really kind, all that stuff with um, sorry, I'm thinking about like her cooking right now. I don't know if that matters too much, but like you learn that she likes cooking and she cooks a lot of Japanese style dishes, meals. And then when you get to this part in the timeline where uh, Yuri is like, okay, I need to eliminate myself. One of the timelines is like, for for every person, right? Like that existence then and there, like the Gina then and there that is seeing Yuri being like, what do you call it? Distressed, right? Because he is trying to like fix this problem of the dual existence, but like literally offering himself is not working. Um, that is like that Gina's experience, and only there. Um, and it's like, sorry, I'm like rambling because I don't know how to put my thoughts into proper form. But if you kind of like see what I'm trying to say, where it's like dang, like doing it this way in front of Gina, where it's like, I don't remember whether or not he does it in front of her. I would assume he doesn't, based on like his, uh, based on Yuri's, you know, personality. I completely forgot, and this is like episode 17. Um, so if you go in episode 17, you'll see what I'm talking about. Uh, but there's that. I'll finish talking about that because I mean, I don't really have much coherent thoughts going on here. And then there's the one thing with SQ, right? And you learn about SQ, all that stuff, and eventually you're like, what? Um, I don't remember all the exact things, but if you watch it, or if if you watched it, past tense, present tense, future tense, whatever. Um, Watching Gnosia, you'll like see with SQ, right? There's the many things kind of like building up as well, where it's uh, where it's you learn about SQ and then you learn more about her. I forgot which timeline it is in, but one of the timelines SQ like confides in Yuri, and she's like, "Do you know why they? Do you know why they call me SQ? Right? Because SQ whatever the number is, like whatever number in the alphabet, and that's like I'm a clone of Manan, right? Um, and and so that's why I'm called SQ, because I mean essentially a number, a clone or whatever, right? Um, and then there's too many timelines, so my memory is completely like mixed up now, and especially that I didn't like write any of this down. Um, but it's either in the same timeline or in a different timeline where uh, oh, I'm remembering it now. So in that timeline, in a very early one, Yuri like is basically saying like you're like even though you might have been like a failed consciousness transfer of Manan, um, you like SQ that I know and the SQ that you are like that is your individual experience and that's who you are, right? Um, and he's basically like affirming SQ's existence. And then going later on into the dual existence problem, where Yuri is like, crap, like I can't exist because like who am I, and then who is that, like, and the dual existence just doesn't allow it. Um, and he gets to like his wits end eventually. Um, and then SQ uh, is is like, yo, what is going on? Tell me what's going on or whatever. And then I believe they talk. I may be completely misremembering this, but I believe they talk, and then um, Yuri and SQ are talking about how, or Yuri is talking about his dual existence problem, and then SQ is like paying back, but this is like a different timeline. But it's like, it's impactful because Yuri like understood her in the past, and now SQ in the future, or I guess in another timeline, it like understands uh, Yuri, right? Uh, because they both, whatnot. You get what I'm trying to say. And it's basically like paying forward, paying back. The the like, whatever you would call that. Sorry, I don't have the word thought for it. It's like 12:20. I'm freaking sleepy. I gotta do these earlier, but so there's that. And speaking of Manon, right, bro? What the heck? Um, I guess I guess all the answers were there, in the beginning already. But so there's Manon, who is the failed transfer consciousness or whatever, and then there's Kukurushka, which is like, bro, who the heck is this? Because there are instances where she's like super friendly to Yuri, and she's like protecting him and all this stuff, and then there is like another timeline where Kukurushka is like just going absolutely crazy and like murdering everybody, um, and I'm assuming that's because of Remnan. Is that his name? I gotta look. Remnon. Yeah. I'm assuming that's because of Remnon, um, or something like that. Like they were both near each other or something. I don't know. I didn't really, to be honest, while I was watching this, I didn't really think that much, um, as I would like to, and I feel like that's something I'm also kind of stop doing less of as I get older. Boomer. As I get older, I just kind of watch rather than like watch and think and that kind of stuff. If that makes sense. Hopefully, I don't fall too much into it. But, anyways, so Kukurushka is like, who the heck is this person? Because throughout the thing, there's like many instances where it's like one, like, whatever. I believe in one instance, it's like, who, I think Yuri is like, who are you? Or like, what are you? Or whatever. Like, basically, like, nani mono dana da desu ka? Something. What are you? Um, Sorry, my Japanese is still extremely poor because I do not practice speaking at all. I do practice writing a lot though, but writing can only get you so far. Um, but what was I even talking about? Holy moly! What one aside? This is like boomer brain right here. Um, Manon with, oh yeah, like what are you or whatever, and then she's like, you'll find out eventually. And surprise, surprise, you find out eventually, at the very last episode, um, and it was very confusing because, I mean, I didn't really think about it while I was watching, um, and honestly, I didn't assume, and I didn't even have like an inkling of a thought that Manon is Kukurushka, right? Um, yeah, something that never passed my mind. Um, sorry, I'm trying to think because the kukurushka thing was also very interesting. There were what instance am I trying to think of? There was she went crazy. She was nice. There were instances. Oh yes, I guess wait, no. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about things that I can think about right now until I remember, and maybe I won't. But um, when Tetsu goes to the other timeline, to like the other, I forget what you call it, but like the entire like different world, her existence like disappears, right? And in that, Kukurushka's existence also disappears because, as you learned in that last episode, uh, in order to like close the loop that is like Setsu's time. Holy moly! I haven't even talked about like Setsu and Yuri's like silver key and then like all that whatnot. But I mean, yeah. Uh, so Kukurushka's so in the timeline where they resolve it, Manon SQ is Manon at that point, and like Setsu goes through so many like loops that she's like she always knows that uh, SQ, if she does not refer to herself as Lil SQ, then that's Manon. And then Manon, the existence of her always indicates that she is a Gnosia or whatever. Um, and when they like split their consciousness out and then send Kukurushka into the other timeline or whatever, that's where like Setsu and then Yuri exists and all that stuff, and that's why you see the existence of Kukurushka or whatever. Oh, I remember now. I remember now. The one thing that I was always like, I was like, how does there was like one instance where I was like, how does Kukurushka like know that or something? And I believe it was during the dual existence problem of Yuri. Um, she was like, dang it, I forgot what she said, but she was basically like, yeah, it's a problem or something, but it'll get resolved, I think, or I forget. I completely forget, but she indicated that she like knew what was going to happen. Like, um, yeah, there's too many images to go through. I forget, but you know what I'm talking about. But like, Yuri is going through all those like things where he's like, how the heck do I solve this? It must be like elimination of me and whatnot. Um, and then they meet in that little like hollow deck kind of thing. Would you call it hollow deck? Hologram place. Um, and and holy moly. And Kukurushka is like she says something where it indicates that she knows what's gonna happen or whatever. And I forget. Is it this one right here? Oh, yeah. She literally says the universe will end soon, right? I believe that's actually is that the first time that that happens? Um, I don't know, but yeah, she says that's the universe gonna end soon, right? And I was like, how does she know this? And obviously explained because Kukurushka is Manan from a timeline that is like and she's like freaking immortal being going through all these loops or whatever. Um, so like that like self closes all the like issues and whatnot. Um, all the other I wish I could talk about all these other characters, but I want to go to sleep. Um, all other characters are really fun and interesting. I guess I'll go through them one by one. Talk really briefly. Um, so Yuri, I mean, he's the main character and all that stuff. At some point, and it's like, you know, sorry, I don't really have a thought about Yuri, but overall, like he's trying to learn things, trying to get through of it, all that stuff. Not bad or whatever. Pretty cool. Setsu, as well, similar deal where she's like, dude, I can't think right now. Holy moly! I guess I'd skip. I can't think. There's there's SQ. I'm looking at the character list. There's Gina, Rakio. Rakio really smart and all that stuff. And then because Rakio is really smart, freaking they end up being like shoved into the cold sleep like freaking half the time because talk too much. Um, Shigemichi, I didn't really think too much about Shigemichi, tbh. Um, it was like synthetic skin or whatever. So does that mean he used to be human? I guess I didn't pay attention too much in regards to that, but I'm guessing that means he was human or something, and then some accident happened, and then boom, he looks like an alien. Stella, I mean Stella's the AI and also the person or whatever, and then it's like, oh, there's just so many things that like there's so much content in this that it's all like packed into 21 episodes. It's kind of crazy. But like Stella, for example, she is like an AI, right? But Gnosia can only infect living people. Is that correct? I forget the exact phrasing that they used, but there was a very brief conversation where Yuri and Stella are like talking to each other, and then Stella's like, "I'm not even human" or whatever, and then Yuri's like, uh, "I know you're AI or whatever, but I know that in some timelines you have been a Gnosia, and that indicates that like there is some capability of her being like human, like underlyingly or something like that." Not very explained too much. Somebody probably knows the answer to this, but it's like, like she is AI, but she is human as well, or has aspects of it or whatnot. There's Yuriko. Uh, bro is straight Bing chillin' because I don't know, she's straight Bing chillin'. I don't have much to say about her except she had that mysterious aura, and then she like survived through these. Is it these or is it this particular loop? But she was like, survive through this loop, and I'll freaking tell you everything you need to know. Uh, and and she does, and then you learn that like, and then she gives you a lore dump. Okay, there are like several points in the story where like there's like lots of lore dump, and then her particular lore dump with Gnos and uh, the like bug Yuri and then all that stuff, and it's like, what the heck is lore dump? You know, um, I can't really remember what the lore dump is specifically, but she was a lore dumper, and I was like, okay, I always enjoy lore dumps, to be honest. Um, I enjoy trying to figure things out, but I also enjoy just spoon feed me. Yeah, give me it. But there's Yuriko, and then there's Comet, uh, and then with her slime stuff, and then her history and her like the planet that she is raised on, and then bro, they got some crazy like civilizations out here, like putting these slime things on people, and then like I forget what the stat is, but a bunch of freaking kids die because this slime is like you know really dangerous. Um, and then there was that one, I guess there was that one instance where instead of like Gnosia's being the issue, it was the slime being the issue. I completely forgot about that. But the slime being an issue, and then Yuri gets to a point where it's like, I mean, if you're a like world leaping like being, right? Like world lines don't mean much if you're gonna redo it over and over, right? Eventually, I mean that's the mentality that people would start to develop. I won't say people, but not like we have that. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. You know, um, but uh, that's kind of the mentality that Yuri started having, right? And it was like, all right, well, everybody like try to save everybody in this timeline, and then I can die. It is how it is. And then try to like fix the slime thing or whatever. And then Jonas figures out that like the slime does not like heat. I think, is that correct? Uh, because everybody's like freaking sweating when they wake up from the cold sleep. But there's that. There's Chippy. Bro wants to be a cat. Crazy dream, but I respect it. I mean, be what you want to be, you know. Um, oh, and speaking of like dreams or whatever, there was episode 19, was it? Or 18? I forget which one. Uh, where initially it was like, this is the end of the story. Boom, you know? Um, and there is this like particular way of like drawing um, or setting up a scene where it feels like a dream sequence, if that makes sense, you know? Um, and it wasn't a dream sequence, but it like the way the lighting was and the way like the story was playing out, it felt like a dream sequence. Um, the last episode at that time, and it was like it was like sorry. So I use AnyList to freaking like track my like watches and stuff like that, and uh, and it didn't say like it finished, I think, or something like that. Um, oh, what it didn't say was how many episodes there were, and typically, uh, I guess, animes announce how many episodes there will be, so you know that like when you get to the end of this, it's done. This one didn't have any episodes, like I believe, or maybe it did say 19. I forget, but I didn't pay attention to that as well. When I started watching this, I actually started watching it so that I accumulated all the episodes. I didn't watch it weekly. And then when it came to like 12 episodes, I was just under the assumption that I would finish in 12 episodes. I started watching it once every day. And then when I caught up, it was like, there's episode 13. I was like, wait, what? Is this a 13 episode thing? Whatever. Um, and then I watched episode 13 and I was like, this is not ending. And then it kept going, it kept going. So then I started having to watch it weekly. Anyways, that's besides the point, and probably don't care about that. Except if you're a future me. Um, and sorry, what was I talking about? Chippy. Oh, endings in episode like 18 or 19, whichever one the like normal ending anime was. They like start telling you like what happens to everybody, right? Like freaking Rakio, and I forget who the other person was. Was it Shigemichi? No, I think it was Remnon. They like go back to a planet, and then like uh they do a revolution, and freaking Rakio has like a naked statue or whatever. Um, and then there's like I forget all of the backstories. There's a bunch of backstories, and then Kukurushka is like nobody knows freaking what happened to Kukurushka. I think. Honestly, I should be able to find this part. Um, but finally becomes a cat, and then Comet's dream of exploring the cosmos. She's finally able to like become a captain and do a lot of stuff. Uh, right, and that's something also we learned about Comet. Man, there's a lot. I wish I could talk about all of them, but my memories are very sparse and not connected properly enough to speak about this in a linear fashion. But when we first learned that Yuri can be a Gnosia, right, and to a comet, bro, freaking Yuri was carrying Comet. By the way, it's freaking crazy. It's like, okay, that was also when I was like, yo, this is kind of how I play like these deception games sometimes when I played them with friends in the past. It's like, dude, if you think about it, you think the traitor would be, like this stupid to out themselves or whatever, right? It's clearly this or that, whatever. Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny that they did that because, it's something you do in these types of games. Um, okay, so yeah, it's like SQ lived with Gina after spending some time in school. She became a private detective. Um, Solar Slime. Solar Slime. Chippy introduced her. She was able to buy a ship and travels or whatever. The adventures begin. Uh, oh, Shaming. Oh yeah, there's Shaming too. Man, even as a Gnosia, bro is basically saying I'm a Gnosia. Just put me into sleep. I'm not gonna. I don't want to like lie. I don't want to do this or whatever. Um, yeah, there's and he's also like a stand up guy because he was like he had those uh, animal friends when he was growing up, and then they freaking whatnot. And then there is what's her name? Otome, the dolphin, and he like understands or whatnot. He's abrasive, but he is like caring at the end of the day. It's like that. It's like that. Like a father who is like kind of like strict. He's like nah, blah, 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 blah. But like deep in the heart or whatever, deep in his heart and mind is like cares about their kid and whatnot. Um, Jonas's backstory or Jonas's end story was kind of funny because I believe it says he continued to wander the galaxy and he died alone. And I believe the episode came out on Valentine's Day, so it's kind of funny that that happened. Um, yeah, still under sleep together on the ship. Yeah. What I wanted to talk about was with Shippy. Yeah, he became a cat, completed his transition into cat, and he said the adventurer comet. Oh, it is said that the adventurer comet always had a black cat by her side whenever she went. So I'm guessing that's Shippy, obviously, since they said that. Um, guess I was talking about characters. Jonas, really like Jonas. He's just like bro wants to go on an adventure. Bro wants to tell stories and stuff like that. So it's really funny to see that eventually Yuri was like, you know, we're gonna go to this dangerous place like near all the like the religious ships or whatever. And then the guy's like, what are you gonna pay me with? And then Yuri's like, oh, I can't pay you, but you can say you freaking got real close to them and then you got lived to tell the tale or whatever. And bro's like, set course to whatever that place is, like Stella, set course. And it's like, you know, uh, adventurous at heart, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess a lot of these characters are adventurous at heart. Like Comet wants to go on and stuff. There's Kukurushka, which I kind of also talked about. Um, Very mysterious, blah blah blah, whatnot. I also was under the assumption there was instances where there was like Kukurushka as a doll and then like Kukurushka as like a living whatever, right? And I was under the assumption that when I first saw her, it was like the doll is like something else. I didn't really think about this to be honest, but the doll was like something else, and then Kukurushka was like an actual human being, right? But it is how it is. Otome, uh, I don't really have much thoughts on her. I mean, animal becomes like intelligent and then has ability to speak and that kind of stuff. She kind of freaky when she's a Gnosia though, with all those like fangs or whatever, her teeth, sharp teeth. I don't know what you call them. Um, but kind of freaky when she does that. When she does that, Remnon with his issues and whatnot. Sorry, it's like 12:42. I'm on the end of this train, and then Charming, and all those people. Um, yeah, it was just really interesting watching and learning, getting to learn about all these people. I liked how they introduced everybody like in like pairs and groups, right? I believe Chippy and Comet was introduced after like the first loop or something like that, and then you get to learn about their characters. Wait, did I say Chippy? Chippy and Comet, uh, and maybe Shigemichi. I forget what the combinations are, um, but they like come in groups and you get to learn about them, and very fun, very cool. And I guess it's like a lot better way to like learn about the characters rather than having everybody there at once and then learning about them one by one. Like how do you go through about that? Um, Not saying that you can't do that or whatever, but I like the way that they did this, and I'm sure there's a lot of other stories that have like cast of a bunch of people. Danganronpa, you know. That's it. I swear I made a Danganronpa freaking thing in some other thing I was referencing. Dude, Danganronpa 2x2, holy moly, I'm excited for that. But that's besides the point. Uh, there was a lot in this show, in this anime. There was a lot of content, and I could probably talk for way more. It's just I don't remember. When I do these, I'm like mostly talking off like my memory, and then sometimes I like reference the sparse notes that I have, and then some of the images that I took. Uh, but hope to everyone else that they. I wonder if other people who watched this they enjoyed it, and whether or not it was a faithful adaptation. I'll probably have to look this up or whatever. Um, I don't know if I'll play it. I have a huge backlog of games I need to play as well. Holy moly! I gotta finish the Trails into Daybreak, and then there's like another game. Like, there's two games out right now. Sorry, I'll stop. This is not related to Gnosia. I need to make more things related to those JRPGs and visual novels and stuff like that. But 46, coming on to 47 minutes. Um, I need to do more manga stuff too, but I kind of have not been reading as much manga recently. There's a there's been a lot. Sorry, I don't know how to do it because a lot of the manga that I'm reading is like ongoing, and when I do these videos, I kind of want to like have a fresh memory, in order to talk about them. So I kind of like want to reread and before I do it, right? There's a lot of good mangas that I really want to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about them as a memory, about how I remember things. Those will probably be really short because my memory is horrible, and and then I'll probably do one after I like rewatch or reread the mangas. Um, that's it. Very fun, anime. The I'll need to do Shiboyugi. Is that how you pronounce it? Um, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, 12:46 a.m. Go sleep. This is your sign. If you're doom scrolling and for some reason 48 minutes in or you skip to this point, go to sleep. Yeah. Good night.